Now it's over to Debanwitta Kahali from India. She is the state president of Wiki, and she'd like to share her thoughts on volunteering, how to prioritize sleep and me time for working mothers. Now, isn't that a coincidence? We were just talking about dancing, but in any case, let's do the start off at least with prioritizing sleep and me time. So, Debanwitta, it's over to you. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kuljeet. And I think, it was such a lovely interaction. And I am fortunate to actually take over from there and also, be an added listener and learner from all the perspectives shared at present. And I got thumbed down with the realization, okay, it's my time to speak and, get it going. So had a lovely time with all of you. And I would like to extend my regards and best wishes to Dr. Harveen for having faith in me, bestowing me with the role of a state president and believing in me that I could give a shape to my module, which was all about corporate advocacy and communication, where volunteerism, for working mothers comes into as a chief predominant factor to let know that, how the role clarity is so much important when it comes to balancing professionalism and having a personal identity. So, I am a little bit, having a mixed up dress and attire at present because it's a festival time in India. And I thought that, okay, what can be better than giving a touch to my personal and professional identity and also present myself likewise at the same time. At the same, opportunity, I would like to extend my regards to Dr. Milan. She has been so cooperative, warm throughout, and had been guiding us, each and every time we had tried to reach out for our queries, for our concerns, if any, and such a lovely person to be around and to be in touch with. So today, my topic surmounts how resilience techniques can be implemented at workplace to promote importance of sleep and self-care among working mothers. So I would like to start with an anecdote by Rabindranath Tagore, and it says that inscrutable are the ways to a woman's heart. But when it comes to a mother, I think she has formed a halo and she wants to master perfectionism from the core. And that gives a lot of, I think, curiosity within her to understand where she needs to take a pause, where she needs to seek help, and at the same time, also have a balance between work and life. So this year, World Health Organization has come up with the theme that how to implement a lot of techniques when it comes to mental health and workspace. And as profession, I am a corporate psychologist and I'm dealing with certain multinational company projects where I would initiate a lot of modules, designs to help employees come up with their techniques to deal with work-life balance. So there, after introduction to World Mental Health Day and the theme in particular, I could see a lot of mothers reaching out to me, with their queries and with their concerns as to how to go about this day without worrying about what's going on back at home, because they feel that the timings are not suitable for them to stay back and do the shift because this day required a lot of active participation. And somehow I could gather the best of insights for this summit from that particular event. I think it was yesterday only. I was representing in one of the universities along with these mothers because as part of the project, I wanted them to also share their perspectives on stage. And I could see that each and every parameter that I had designed to talk over here could be covered and could be understood much better on the stage itself. And a few would be how this role clarity of where should I draw a line when it comes to my role as a mother, and also when it comes to the professionalism, a lot of guilt is involved, a lot of self-doubt is involved, a lot of questioning self-worth is involved. So there, I feel if all the workspaces can promote a space where new and also would-be mothers are given that platform, that forum to openly talk about their emotional struggles and also their understanding of how things might change and may not change if they're a mother. So there can be times that, it's just about the learning from their generation, that they have understood, yes, this is where I need to drop my papers because I have become a mother and I do not think I can do a job which requires me to be in shifts, or maybe travel a lot, or take my projects to places where a lot of struggles are involved, or a lot of rumination about your learning knowledge is involved. So they would step back, understanding that, yes, this is where it is no more me, and I should attach a separate wing to my feather because I think that has become a part of me, which we may be able to put a pause to by implementing a lot of forums in the workspaces. And as the state president in the last few events, I have tried to come up with the objectives to help them understand about several boundaries that they can practice, to help themselves understand where to draw a line, where to actually step forward, and what is the importance and significance of taking breaks. Now, when it comes to taking breaks, again, the idea of spending time with family and the kid becomes most important. But taking breaks can also be spending time just with yourself, practicing all the things that had been an integral part to you once. So there need not be any sacrifice of your favorite pleasure times, or like your favorite hobbies, or the social circle that you were part of, because you have added a very new role to your hat. And that is where a lot of interactions, a lot of, I think, rooms should be open. And in the past 2-3 months, I could observe, and I can also foresee in the forthcoming days, that initiation in my projects and in the workspaces that I'm involved in, where pregnant mothers and also the new mothers are given that opportunity to come and openly discuss through group sessions and also through individual sessions about how they are trying to overcome their fear. A lot of learning which needs to be unlearned and relearned with fresh perspectives, their own understanding of how they would like to put forth their own habits, their own preferences and likes later on. Another thing is fear of missing out. So that is a parameter where we all were trying to dive deep into, as council members, to understand that how this fear of missing out from the best of aspects of life comes so handy when a mother is trying to dive deep into what was part of her, what may not be part of her in the coming days. So that evaluation is so strong, so stringent, so rigid, that they would be very sure that, yes, I won't be able to take part in certain events or certain occasions because, yes, now I am a mother, and this will not be suitable or comfortable for me to actually do the things which I had enjoyed once. But there would be this constant fear of missing out throughout. So that is where I think a lot of psychoeducation, a lot of theory exchange, a lot of mutual exchange need to happen. So if mothers are actually openly talking about all these struggles more than the baby in conversations with their peer group, these things can be dealt with in a much healthy manner. So there had been a workshop recently, it's been just a week before, where all the mothers were assembled, and they were not allowed to talk about their baby for 20 minutes or so. They were just allowed to talk about what are they fearing of missing out in the coming few days, or maybe at present. And those 20 minutes, I think a lot of them struggled because they didn't know that how to not bring the child in between and talk of things. It's because of the child that this is not happening, or maybe due to being a mother, I am not being able to do. How can I just exclude that big part from my life and talk about something which involves just me, my self care, and also the hobbies or the preferences that I enjoy. But among them, strikingly, one woman could have a lovely rendition and contribution to the talk, where she said that she wanted to actually practice aerobics since a long time. And she felt that, the work, the commitments, the responsibilities were stopping her from taking it ahead. But after becoming a mother, she actually tried to fulfill that urge. And it was rejuvenating, it was liberating, because she could find herself active and enjoying it, as she thought that, okay, post her delivery, she would not be able to be as active as she was before. So that uh, verdict from her changed the entire room's atmosphere. And one by one, I think they could slowly stop including their baby husband or partners or like any other family member, and could just go about what they would be enjoying as a mother and being a mother, not sacrificing their needs, their preferences. And hence the conversation went elsewhere, and it was so fruitful and wholesome to be a part of it. Another parameter from there, which all of us, we can take World Values Day to help us understand, is how a lot of recommendations from each other can have an impact. So the recommendations we get from our support groups is a lot about how you need to fulfill this duty a certain way, or how a lot of things you can do to nurture and play the role better. But more recommendations could be about how you can still be what you were and can be more, like later on. So those recommendations can be modified, and I think through support group, through peer group, that can be exchanged and turned into a much fruitful discussion to be a part of. Workspace definitely need to be open about emotional health leaves, because there are many a times where due to emotional breakdown, mothers are not being able to come to turn up to office, and due to lack of sleep, because of not being able to sleep at the correct time that they were supposed to, they're coming all burnt out or maybe so exhausted they're not being able to keep up with their fresh energy for a very long time. So the only guilt that strikes them when interviewed, it is like, I do not know how to actually type the email or frame the email that I'm going through an emotional crisis, or I'm not feeling well enough today. That's why I cannot turn up. And that conversation, I think, it made people teary-eyed. And most of them raised their hands and they were like, hey, Debanwitta, yes, I think we want to take leaps, but we are so hesitant because we do not know if this is a correct way to frame that I need a leave because I'm not going through emotional health, not going through a healthy emotional health. And I would like to have this leave to myself to just rest well, sleep well, eat well, and hydrate myself well. Those are the just few basic needs that I want for myself. And so difficult to confront or to open up or to express. And that is where I think through our values and volunteerism and how we have all come together to have an integrated approach for the same, we can help them to implement that framing pretty well and constructive, where yes, they can be just walk through the platform and for that, yes, you may be able to voice it out without feeling guilty or without having that self-doubt within yourself, that is it worthwhile to ask for a leave or for just a gap because I'm not feeling well and I'm so tired looking after the baby. Face time is very important in workspaces because I think most of the time in India especially, I think people drop down their papers because they feel disconnected. And it's a very big thing to actually ask for a time where you would be having a FaceTime with your child or with the assistants that you have back at home to interact on how is the baby doing. And if some allotment is done to that FaceTime, I think every mother would be more connected in a workspace where they feel that, yes, they have some allotted time to have just that, compassion of coming across their child. And they feel, yes, blessed that, wow, I had worked well also. And this is my time to just spend with my baby. And I do not maybe have to carry my baby to my workspaces because that can also be distracting in a lot of ways. So that can be implemented, and we are still working on it, but it is, yes, it is far-fetched, and it's a very small step. I think personally everyone is being able to do, but behind that personal initiation, there lies a lot of struggles, there lies a lot of thriving. which can be, I think, taken care of if the allotment is done in a specific manner. A health instructor in most of the workspaces is very important to be there. I think the projects that I work for, they are the top tier projects like of Google, Accenture, and Microsoft, and Meta, where I think this provision is there, where they would be having psychologists, health instructors, and others to have a round of interaction with mothers to understand how they are keeping when they're away from home or when they're away from their child. Is there any sort of anxiety going on? If there is any sort of struggle which is very deep ingrained and they're not being able to open up, that may affect their productivity. But in the name of having their productivity affected or having a question raised at their efficiency or productivity, a lot of mothers do not turn up to the discussions. And they turn up at a time where they feel the child is going through something very difficult because of the detachment, and not because they had been also struggling throughout when the similar scenarios were cropping up. So again, the paradigm shift into understanding that the role clarity is very important is where the sense of, I think, our forum lies, and we are trying day to day to make that an impactful one. So on that note, I would really like to open this platform to everyone to help me understand what could be the suggested measures which can be taken care of and implemented. Because I think what I have felt this entire fraternity, we all are helping each other to make this place a pretty universe to be in. And it would be so lovely to have perspectives shared, and which I think in the coming few days, I would be able to implement with a brighter heart and a lot of hope. That is all for me for tonight.
Thank you, Debanwitta. And yes, I kind of echo what she said. Anyone else who wants to contribute to her journey and this whole space of helping out mothers who have been in the whole space of struggling, how do they do justice to both sides, their children as well as their professional space? You did talk of a lot of things, by the way, the entire resilience techniques. You spoke about taking breaths and flying off with your kids somewhere or with the family. And also main thing was the me journey alongside, apart from overcoming the fears and of course challenges of FOMO, overcoming all of that, and the whole thing of wanting to prioritize oneself. I think that takes the essence. Uh, I think largely speaking, we women, in the way we are crafted and cultured, and I speak probably for the global women, I don't say only for India, we are soft, we are beautiful, we are strong, we have all the facets. But somewhere down the line, I think we're such a nurturer. We're the nurturers, right? So in the nurturing spirit that we have, there is always a tendency when you have a child to put yourself at priority 2 or 3, and to be able to learn and master the technique of saying that, okay, it's even if you put yourself on priority 1, you don't have to be guilty about it. You deserve to be there, because if you take care of yourself, in flights, they always say you wear your oxygen mask before you take care of another. And it's a similar story. So in the similar manner, if you can just make sure that you are well taken care of yourself, be it your mental health, be it your values, be it whatever, if you're taking care of yourself, automatically it will kind of have a rippling effect in your family and your community. And I think so it actually stems down to the self-concept and self-esteem that we women have. And I'm not saying it's always, it's not always to do with the environment. It is sometimes, in fact, largely it is with the environment, because when the child enters this world, she is often told certain things. The messaging that's going into her head is probably these kind of messages. It's okay. It's okay to kind of, be at priority 2 or 3 and not be at number 1 for yourself, and so on and so forth. A number of things. And so I think culturally, the child just goes through so much of, thought processes that you land up organically moving in that direction. So I think it's to unwind that is a challenge for sure. And I'm glad that you shared that there's work going on and you're actually building systems, and there are big IT giants that you just spoke of who are actually employing the technique. So that's brilliant.